Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it's time for another live stream show. Welcome to the live stream show. It's been a minute. It's been 2-3 weeks now since we've done one of these live stream shows, so it's good to have you all back. It's good to be back myself, and looking forward to a good time talking fishing tonight and getting caught up on all things inshore, nearshore, and offshore fishing. We're going to give away free trips. We're going to answer questions live, and we're going to talk a lot about all the things that we've missed out on talking about. Plus, tell you about the weather, what we're catching now, what's coming up, and so much more. So hopefully you're excited for a good show tonight. I know I'm excited to be back and looking forward to hanging out with y'all for the next hour or so as we chat fishing. Now, first things first, make sure we want to give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't stopped by to see our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle, make sure you do so. Great people over there, huge selection, absolutely incredible shop. Stop by and say hello to Gator Jim's Tackle. Again, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Check them out. Then finally, also want to make sure we give a shout out to all our supporters out there in our supporters group. If you haven't thought about becoming a supporter, make sure you do so. We do have a supporters page of our website. You can find out more information and join there. It's only $4.99 a month. You get private access to our private group. You get a little bit more communication, a little bit more one-on-one stuff. Plus, on top of that, you get access to the private supporters after show right after our live stream show. We do an after show for the supporters where we talk a little bit more about what's going on, what's coming up, and answer the questions a little bit more one-on-one. So pretty good opportunity there if you want to become a supporter. Again, it's only $4.99 a month. And then finally, want to make sure we give a shout out to, of course, all our star senders tonight. We had a lot of star senders to get us started out here, and I want to make sure we give a shout out to all of those folks from the stars here. So I'm going to grab this. Jeff Reedy with a big 1,200 stars. James McCullum with 500. Appreciate you, buddy. Larry White with 500. Nick Nieves, what's going on, buddy? Jasmine Marie. Richard Blazak. Keith White. Nick Nieves with 1,000 stars. Appreciate you, my friend. Looks like 1,200 total. D. Beers with 1,000. Appreciate you. Stephen Batchelor, what's up, dude? David Pruitt with 500. Thank you, my friend. Nathan Alboom with 500. Jeff Reedy with another 1,200. Gary Camage, appreciate you, man. Matt La Rochelle, appreciate you, buddy. Brian Eakins, Scott Flynn, Donna Langston, thank you all. And Dan Netto coming in there with the 500 stars. Appreciate everybody for the stars. If you're watching on YouTube, Trovo, Twitch, stars are a way for people on Facebook to kind of show their support, and it helps us to do more cool things with the live stream show. So definitely appreciate those in our supporters group and those sending stars who help us to fuel the show. And then, of course, our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle brought you this show, so super helpful there as well. Then, want to learn how to win free trips? You guys want some free stuff tonight? If you want a chance to win free trips, make sure you comment at least one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. You can watch on YouTube, you can watch on Trovo, you can watch on Twitch, but you have to comment at least one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream in order to be eligible to win the free trip. So comment one time, but it definitely helps if you like the video, like the stream for us, give us a thumbs up. It definitely helps if you share it to your favorite fishing club page, to your timeline, whatever. So share it, like it, but make sure you comment at least once for your chance to win. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, comment, give us a thumbs up. Same thing on Trovo, Twitch, all the other places as well. Now, keep in mind as well, want to make sure that we share with you guys all the great photos we've been seeing. We've got a ton of photos to show tonight because we haven't had a show in a while. So definitely been catching some nice fish. Want to talk to you guys a little bit about the inshore, nearshore, and offshore fishing we've got going on now. Then we're going to get into a little bit about the weather. And then we're going to talk through a nice long list of things that we got to get through here. And then we'll get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, the phone number is right there at the bottom middle of the screen, so you can shoot us a text with your questions if you would like. So let's start inshore and look at what we've been seeing inshore here. Definitely a lot of the pompano are still moving around right now, so you got a great chance for those pompano. The speckled trout bite has been spectacular, seeing a lot of speckled trout around the area. So good opportunities for the speckled trout. Plus, on top of that, we've been seeing the flounder moving back in from their nearshore spawn, seeing a lot of the flounder pick up, the pompano, as I mentioned, hanging on those sandy edges, the redfish around the dock lines, mangrove shorelines, oyster bars. Snook are really up in the back protected bay waters. River mouse, creek mouse, bayou mouse, backcountry areas. These dark snook are what you're going to find in those brackish water areas. That's where they're hiding, looking for a little bit of reprieve from that chillier weather. The trout, on the other hand, they like the chilly weather. They do well and seem to get more aggressive and more excited. So really right now, your best bet are those sheep's head, those black drum and redfish, but you got a chance for those snook and definitely can chase around those flounder and pompano as well. But the pompano, they move a lot, so staying on top of the pompano is a little bit challenging. One day you'll find pompano at John's Pass. The next day the pompano will move quite a distance and be a little bit harder to chase down, so they can be challenging for that reason. Now, let's move near shore and talk a little bit about what we've been seeing near shore here. Definitely a lot of the hogfish. The 10-hour all day is a great opportunity to target those hogfish. We do catch a hogfish here and there on our 5-hour half-day fishing trips, but in order to really target them and catch quite a few of them, the 10-hour all day is going to be your best bet. But occasionally, we've been getting taxed, and this hogfish got ate by a shark, unfortunately, but a pretty cool photo nonetheless. Seeing a lot of those nice hogfish on our private fishing charters aboard the Hub as well, so if you have an opportunity to do a private charter, it's a great way to target the hogfish as well, of course. But 10-hour trips are going to be your best public option if you're going on a public trip to get those hogfish options and opportunities. Seeing some nice porgies, the occasional keeper red grouper as well. There's that shark going after the hogfish, unfortunately. A lot of throwback gags of late. We're seeing a lot of the gag grouper we have to catch and release, but some nice big porgies mixed in. We don't have any photos from the 39-hour trip yet. The 39-hour trip got back Saturday morning and didn't unfortunately have a chance to catch up with it because I was doing the radio show Saturday morning, so we don't have 39-hour photos from the trip, but the 39-hour crushed the mangrove snapper, absolutely destroyed them. Had a whole, most of the folks on the boat had a limit of mangrove snapper, which was pretty cool to see. So the mangrove snapper bite was spectacular. We saw a lot of those big red grouper. Not a ton of red grouper. It was a little bit pickier than we would have liked on the red grouper action, but definitely a huge number of those mangrove snapper. We got a lot of vermilions, porgies, almacos, a lot of heads and tails in there too. So pretty darn good 39-hour kickoff trip. We've got a 44-hour coming up this weekend, and we're super pumped about that. Plus, we've got the 12-hour night snapper trip coming up this Friday, and we've added a 10-hour all-day trip in this week as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that now, but I want to make sure we give a shout-out to some of these star senders that we had here. We had Angie Darling, Sam Lang, LaShonda Brown, Adam Franklin, all hitting us with stars. Adam sent 500. Appreciate you, buddy. And Sean Gossier with 2,400 stars. Appreciate you, Sean. Thank you so much, my friend. Now, we talked a little bit about what we've been catching. Let's talk a little bit about the weather, show you guys what's going on weather-wise right now. We're going to pop over to the Hubbard's Marina website page, click fishing trips. We're going to hit the weather links page, second option down. Then we're going to head over to start on the 5 and 10 hour wind finder forecast area. You can see right off the bat kind of what I'm looking at is this midweek time frame. Today, not so good. A little breezy, a little wet today. Tomorrow, not so good either. Going to be really cold, blowing out of the north. We're going to probably be able to sneak out there on the Florida for a half-day trip, but it's going to be probably pretty slow fishing and pretty darn bumpy and very cold. Then Tuesday, really clears up nicely, really lays down nicely. Very clear, calm, cool conditions. Going to warm up a little bit for us, but still blowing out of the north Tuesday and Wednesday. Then Thursday, it finally relents. That north wind breaks, starts to really look good before the weather Friday. We get another little prefrontal activity Friday, and then another little cold front there Saturday. But it looks like a much weaker front, so hopefully we'll be able to get out that 44-hour full moon trip despite the weather. The 12-hour night snapper looks like it might be in a little bit of jeopardy, but we have a really good weather window here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Really, Thursday's probably the best day. Wednesday's pretty darn good. Tuesday looks pretty good as well. So kind of Tuesday's a 7, 8 out of 10. Wednesday's an 8 out of 10. Thursday's a 9, 9.5 out of 10. So really looking good there midweek, because we're on the backside of this nasty weather that's happening today and tomorrow. So Tuesday should have the opportunity for those fish to start picking back up. The fish should start chewing Tuesday sometime, hopefully Tuesday morning. And then Wednesday should be a good bite. And then Thursday should be a great bite ahead of this nasty weather Friday. Plus, we've got a full moon coming this Friday, Saturday. So not only do we have bad weather coming in, but we've also got a full moon coming. So really good weather window Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And now because of that really nice short weather window Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we want to try to give people as many opportunities to go fishing as possible. Our Wednesday 12-hour extreme trip should crush them. Plenty of room on that. It's only half full right now, so didn't do anything with the extreme trip since we have a trip Wednesday already. That's only half full. Weather looks spectacular for that Wednesday extreme. However, the Tuesday 10-hour trip and the Thursday 10-hour trips have been pretty popular. They're already both at like 35 people, so I didn't want those trips to really fill up. So I wanted to give everybody a chance to kind of spread out through that weather window Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we've added a 10-hour all-day trip for Wednesday. So has a super light load on it right now. I would suggest doing all 3 days, but definitely looking good Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if you want to hop on a 10-hour trip this week, we've got tons of room, tons of availability. Again, Tuesday, Thursday's normal 10-hour days, but we've added one Wednesday as well. So you've got 3 10-hour trip opportunities during that nice weather window. So get out there and let's do some catching this week while the weather is looking good. Because you've got a narrow opportunity to do so. But the hogfish bite's been great. We've been seeing a lot of lane snapper, a good number of mangrove snapper. We've been seeing the occasional red grouper. So those 10-hour trips this week. Plus, we've got, of course, the 5-hour half-day options too, private charter options, the 12-hour extreme trip Wednesday. So a lot of opportunities this week during that nice little weather window. Also, want to make sure we give a shout out to our Bartow Ford event that's coming up. That Bartow Ford event is going to be March 26th. Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Lisa Fitzgerald from CCA Star Tournament are going to be talking fishing at Bartow Ford over there in Bartow, Florida, 6 to 8 p.m. That is March 26th. Again, March 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Bartow Ford. There's free food from Silver Ring Cafe. That is spectacular. You can get a chance to win some Bull Bay rods, some Engel coolers, some real animal swag. It's going to be a great time. So go out and join Captain Mike Anderson, Captain Lisa Fitzgerald, March 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. And I had a seminar, a fishing seminar booked myself early March, but unfortunately I've heard that could be changing a little bit, so not announcing that date right now. But if they are able to finalize the location, I'll make the announcement, and that'll be open to the public. So should have a seminar sometime in March myself. And we're going to be putting together some seminars probably at T.A. Mahoney's, at Gator Gyms, and probably at Hubbard's Marina this year too, because Bass Pro and Hubbard's Marina have parted ways. So we are no longer doing seminars at Bass Pro Shops. So because of that, we're going to do some seminars at some other local tackle shops. It'll be a good time for sure. Gag grouper updates. Want to talk a little bit about the gag grouper updates. We went to the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council. We were doing some talking about gag grouper updates. Our last live stream show was a lot about fisheries science and management. So that was all in preparation for that gag grouper conversation that happened at the Fishery Management Council meeting back at the end of January, early February. Long story short, boiled down, the public comment worked. You guys made the difference. Your comments, your emails, your messages, your public comments helped. And NOAA Fisheries actually went back, reviewed the numbers, and have severely altered them, cut them in half. Original estimates were like 1.5 to 1.7 million pounds for gag grouper landing estimates. Now it's down somewhere in the neighborhood of 700,000 pounds. So literally more than half the landings were cut away and discarded, basically, ignored, if you will. So really crazy to see the impact that public comment and people being participating in the process has had on these gag grouper numbers. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. This is a draft that was released. The Gulf Council published it on their Facebook page, and people were like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 and everybody freaked out. Those aren't finalized numbers. This is just kind of their first stab at addressing this gag grouper data problem. So potentially it could kind of wiggle from there. So I'm still hoping it wiggles down a little bit, because 700,000 pounds is much higher than what the quota was. The quota for 2023 was. Our quota that we were supposed to land was in the neighborhood of 400,000 pounds. So if our quota was 400,000 pounds and we landed 700,000 pounds, that's better than landing 1.5 million pounds, but it's still much higher than our quota is. And there's a payback, and that payback says for gag grouper in that fishery, you have to pay back what you overfish. So for example, I'm going to boil this math down easy because I'm not a mathematician. Let's say our quota was 100 pounds and the numbers came back and said we caught 150 pounds. That means the following year you have to pay back that overage of 50 pounds. So if your quota was 100, you caught 150, the next year your quota would only be 50 pounds. Because you're paying back the 50-pound overage from the previous year. So your 100 pounds would be cut by the overage of 50 pounds. So applying that example to the real numbers, if our quota was 400,000 pounds for 2023 and they finalize that 700,000 pound number, that means 2024's quota is only going to be 100,000 pounds. That's not good, because there's a certain point in which they might say, the quota's too small, we're not going to risk opening a season, because any open season could risk overrunning the quota. So there's going to be no season, potentially, if the number is really small. So that's one big concern that we have, and that we're watching closely, and we're kind of waiting to see, because our finalized information won't be coming out until probably April. So at the April Gulf Council meeting, that's when we're going to hear the finalized numbers, kind of what they're settling for with this gag grouper situation, and what we're going to see as far as the season is concerned for gag grouper. Red grouper numbers were also a problem. Were also discussed quite heavily, and those red grouper numbers, most likely what's going to happen is we're going to see a very similar season to what we saw last year, because the issues with red grouper numbers didn't occur till the end of the season, which was July. So most likely we'll have a very similar season to last year, because the problems didn't happen until the last 19 days of the season. So most likely for red grouper, season will be the same. For gag grouper, guesstimates are around 3 to 6 weeks, hopefully. I would be very happy with a 3 to 4 week gag grouper season, but time will tell. We'll know more in April. It looks like we've got Capt. Mike Anderson on the line to chat a little bit about Inshore side of things. We talked about the Bartow Ford event and the Hall of Famer Captain Lisa Fitzgerald joining Capt. Mike, and he must have his ears must have been burning. What's up, Mike?
What's up, my friend? How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually in Crystal River. I'm in my room at the plantation on Crystal River. Gonna try to get a show in tomorrow. Gonna chase some speckled perch and some bass around here in Citrus County.
Nice. Going speck fishing. That should be a lot of fun. I was trying to call this morning and join the conversation, especially when you guys started talking about Lake O discharges, but unfortunately couldn't get in there.
Well, the phone lines were down, so
yeah,
we had the same problem you had yesterday. Yeah.
You were stuck talking to Mahoney the whole time and Ben.
Right. Painful.
Yeah. When he started getting on the topic of lady anglers, I almost hung up myself. I was like, I don't want to be affiliated with this.
Yeah, he's always on the edge.
Yes, he is. Well, how's the inshore bite game going? I know you went fishing this past week, and I saw that big old snook you guys caught.
Well, and that was interesting. I actually filmed that. That was a filming day up with TJ Stewart and Eric Bachnick from Mirror out of Bradenton. We actually ran up the river and caught all those fish in the river. So we got that big snook, a 40-incher, which was Eric Bachnick's biggest ever on artificial, which I thought was cool.
That's saying something.
The head of Mirror Lures,
the head of Mirror Lure to get his biggest snook on artificial with you on your trip. That's pretty awesome.
Well, and it was really TJ Stewart. You know, I was with TJ. I had never fished that area before, and TJ and I had been trying to get together to do a show. TJ is an absolutely incredible angler, probably one of the 10 or 15 best on the west coast of Florida, and he proved it. We had tough conditions. The wind was howling 20, 25 miles an hour, and he put us in the spot to catch a pile of fish, caught a few redfish, caught a few trout, caught a pile of snook, and then obviously Eric's big one. So it was pretty productive, and it was all on mirror lures. We caught a lot of fish on mirrodines, caught a lot of fish on Little Johns, and then Eric caught that big one on a marshmallow. So pretty impressive in tough conditions. The way Mirror Lure can somehow just manage to get it done for you in the saltwater is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I love those Mirror Lure mirrodines for summertime snook fishing around the docks. They crush them things. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to beat them for saltwater baits. I had a trip on Wednesday. Was a little tougher than what we had experienced in the river. We caught some nice trout, but caught a redfish too. But other than that, it was a grind. We saw a lot of fish, saw some big snook, and we had a decent morning, but it wasn't nothing to write home to Mom about for sure. But and then obviously I wrapped up my week there at the Miami Boat Show, so it was a little bit crazy. And here I am in Crystal River at the plantation on Crystal River, getting ready to hopefully wreck some fish tomorrow.
Nice. And the Miami Boat Show, the hydrogen-powered outboard engine by Yamaha, that was pretty amazing to see Yamaha partner with Roush and Regulator Boats to do a collab like that for a hydrogen-powered outboard engine is insane.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. They also broke a new 350 six-cylinder.
That's awesome.
It only weighs 18 pounds more than the 300 six-cylinder that I run on a regular basis. So I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty impressive. So
because the 350 has always historically been an 8-cylinder from Yamaha, I believe, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But now they got a 6-cylinder. They were able to lighten it up some, and I think that's going to be a really popular motor moving forward for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You get that extra horsepower out of it, and only pick up 18, 20 pounds of extra weight is pretty special. So go figure, Yamaha kind of cutting edge and making some noise. Yeah, doing what they do. So
that's awesome.
Should be pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, cool stuff, man.
Cool.
And the sheep's head bite has been really stellar around the bay, huh?
Yeah, it has been. It's been getting better and better. The bad part is we have all this, wind, so it's been a little tough to fish some of the rock piles out deep where I like to get on some of the bigger females. But there's been a lot of fish around the docks, the intercoastal. There's been some fish even on the flats. So shrimp's the key, small hooks, or shrimp with I like to use some small 1/4-ounce jig heads. If you can find the ones that have a 1/0 hook in them, there's several companies out there that make those. Works really, really good. Really good.
A 1/0 hook and a light jig head, casting them up underneath docks, right?
Yep, tail hooking your shrimp. tail hooking live shrimp and then just pitching them up onto the docks and just letting that jig head sit on the bottom. Nice. The shrimp's feet will do all kinds of work, and they're kind of grinding in the sand, making a little poof and a little mark, and those sheephead will see that activity and come over there to check it out and eat them up. So it's a great tactic.
That's awesome, man. Well, lots of things to try this week, huh?
Oh yeah, should be interesting. We're going to get some good weather. I'm up here tonight, fishing tomorrow in Citrus County, come home. Then Wednesday I'm down at South Seas, and then Friday I'm back fishing some ring power guys there and out of St. Petersburg. So should be an interesting week. I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool, brother. Well, catch them up tomorrow. Enjoy. Go get some sleep, and look forward to seeing some pictures of your specs and bass tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. Me too, buddy. I'm excited. Light tackle. They've been hitting those little jigs with ultralight spinning tackle, like 4-pound tests. So it should be fun.
That'll be awesome. Well, enjoy, Mike. Thanks, buddy.
All right, partner. Have a great show. Appreciate you.
See you, Mike.
Bye, buddy.
Always a pleasure chatting with Captain Mike. He's going fishing tomorrow up at the plantation for some bass, some specks. Great area to go if you're looking for a trip. Some people were talking about wanting to try the freshwater game. Definitely a lot of good people. And you can call Captain Mike and book through him. His number is right on our website. If you wanted a chance to chat with Captain Mike, just go to, Josh putting the link in there, but it's hubbardsmarina.com/inshore fishing, right on our website under the fishing trips. Scroll down to private charters, then hit inshore fishing. That's going to bring you to the Captain Mike Anderson page. Talks to you a little bit about pricing on his saltwater trips, and you could book through him for a variety of different captains. Or you can call him and do things like gator hunting, bow fishing, bass fishing, specks, whatever. It does not matter. He works with a ton of captains. So because of our relationship with Captain Mike and the Real Animals, you can book through Hubbard's Marina's website essentially for anything you want to do on the water, whether that's bass fishing, crappie fishing, gator hunting. It doesn't matter because you can give Captain Mike a call and book through him. So great way to chat with Captain Mike as well. Now, who wants to win some free stuff? We haven't given away a free trip yet. I think it's time to give away our first free trip of the night. Let's go ahead and give away our 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Again, this is a 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. In order to be eligible to win, you have to have commented 1 time on our Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream, and it is also super helpful if you remember to like the video, share the videos as well on YouTube. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. But in order to be eligible to win, you have to comment 1 time. If you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you see your name pop up on the screen, and I say your name over the video, then you've got 5 minutes or less to claim that free trip by texting us your full home address to the phone number on the screen. So let's find out who the winner is of our 10-hour all-day trip for 2 people. 10-hour all-day. Scott Flynn, congratulations, my friend from Ohio. You just won a 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests, Scott Flynn. You've got 5 minutes or less to claim your free trip by texting us your full home address to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. So make sure you text us quickly to claim that free trip and to prove you're watching live. That's why we do that, and that's why you got to claim it quickly. Now, let's make sure we give a shout-out to some of those star senders here real quick. We had Matt La Rochelle again sending some stars. Appreciate you, my friend. Gary Steedman. We had Lizette Garcia. Sean Gossier again with a big 1,000 stars. Thank you, Sean. We had Richard Harcourt with looks like 575 stars. Thank you, buddy. Jeff Reedy, what's up, buddy? Angel, appreciate those 1,000 stars. 3,000 stars. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate you very much. Matt Reiki, thank you, buddy. Angie Darling, Sam Lang, LaShonda Brown. Appreciate all of you guys for sending stars. And Joe Vito as well. What's up, buddy? Thank you guys all for the stars. Now, want to make sure we also remind you guys while we're talking about different things going on. We have been nominated for the best charter in St. Pete, Clearwater area in the region. You guys remember we won best charter boat in the country by USA Today. Well, now we've been nominated for Best Charter Boat in the region. So we need your help again to help us vote for Hubbard's Marina for Best Charter. Josh is going to drop the link in the chat, but you can, if you can't see the link, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever and you can't see the link, you can just go to Google, type in VSPC, visit St. Pete Clearwater, VSPC, Best of the Best voting, and it'll pop right up. It's the first thing. So that's how I find it every time. It's just VSPC, Best of the Best voting, and it'll pop up. But
also a pop-up on the site, but it's not popping up for me.
Josh put a pop-up on the site too. And it's also on our Facebook page, but it's a daily voting. So you have to remember to vote every day if you can. Super helpful if you remember to vote every day. You can also write us in for different categories. So like there's one that's like best family trip. You can write in Hubbard's Marina if you want. So you can write in nominations for each category. You could vote for one category. You could vote for all the categories. You could just scroll down and vote for Best Charter and ignore everything else and hit submit at the very bottom of the page. So it's up to you if you want to vote every category, one category, none of the categories, or ignore it completely. But we'd appreciate the vote daily if possible to help us win Best Charter Boat in the region. Now, also, want to make sure we tell you guys a little bit about our fisheries science and management page. Josh has been creating a lot of new a lot of new website pages for you guys. We have our Don's Dock Seafood Market page, but of course under fishing trips, if you hit fishing trip information, or actually if you hit more info, that last link, then the first one you see pop up is Fisheries Science and Management. This page was recently created. It embeds the video from the last live show. We kind of trimmed it up so it's just the fisheries management information, and then we kind of broke it down into different categories if you just want to watch a shorter video. And then towards the bottom, we have the Get Involved links. So a bunch of different links to the Gulf Council, to the South Atlantic Council, to the Southeast Data Assessment Review, and then how to join the email lists as well. So lots of helpful links, lots of really good videos. So check out the Fisheries Science and Management page that Josh created because there's a lot of helpful info. Plus, we're going to have another new video that we're going to add to that page Tuesday, our podcast that we did with Salt Strong is going to premiere. So you'll see Salt Strong talking about the podcast that we did together. Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, and myself filmed a podcast where we talked a lot about fisheries science and management. So we'll add that blog post to the Fisheries Science and Management page too. But lots of helpful info there if you want to check it out. Then also, huge announcement. Hubbard's Marina has made a groundbreaking policy change. We announced it in our supporters page earlier today. So the supporters watching the video already know about this. They've already talked to a few people. So you might have heard the huge announcement already if you're a supporter or if you're supporter adjacent. But if you're not a supporter, if you haven't seen the announcement already, we have made the decision to remove a policy. That policy is the policy about no electronics on 10-hour trips or longer. So 10-hour trips, 12-hour nights, 12-hour extremes, 39 hours, 44 hours, long-range private charters, you were not permitted to bring electronic devices with GPS. So no smartphones, no smartwatches. And we really worked hard to make sure none of that was on the boat. We have removed that policy. So now if you do a 10-hour all-day trip with us, a 39-hour trip with us, a 12-hour extreme trip with us, you better bring your phone, and you better make some TikTok videos, and you better tag us, and you better send us those videos and photos, because now you're allowed to bring your smartphone on the boat. So we're going to encourage folks to take a lot of photos, take a lot of videos, and share them with us. Tag us and help us to grow our social media, and hopefully it makes the experience more memorable for you guys. Hopefully it makes it easier for you guys to get your photos. Hopefully it makes it easier to capture memories. What this is not intended to do, this is not intended to attract people who have not fished with us before. I saw a lot of really interesting comments as this got announced. One comment I saw was, I was going to fish with them, and then I saw I couldn't bring my phone, and I didn't fish with them. But now that I am allowed to bring my phone, I might want to fish with them. Honestly, if you didn't want to fish with us because you weren't allowed to bring your phone, I honestly don't want you to fish with us, because that to me is a little bit of a weird thing, right? This is all intended to help reward you guys, those of you who watch our show all the time, who fish with us a lot, who are part of our Hubbard's Marina family. I want to make it easier for you to capture those memories, share those memories, and help us to continue to grow the Hubbard's Marina family. So that's what this is intended to do. And I'm hoping and praying it rolls out smoothly and we don't have any issues. But it's a little bit scary for us. But we're gonna try. It's something we've wanted to do for a while. Unfortunately, we've had some dishonest people in the past really utilize electronics to hurt us. But now in today's world, with the way electronics have advanced, if someone wanted to negatively use electronic devices, it's really hard to stop someone nowadays with the way technology has advanced. So instead of continuing to punish the honest people, we are going to try to just work together to make it as positive as possible. So that's what we're doing. And we're gonna throw this against the wall and see how it goes. So looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are as excited as we are to open a new chapter and continue to grow and evolve with time. And that's what Hubbard's Marina is all about, providing an excellent client experience with superior guest service and continuing to evolve and grow to help improve the Hubbard's Marina family experience. So that's what we're doing. And hopefully you guys can get some value out of that as well. So that's the new policy. Also, want to make sure we talk a little bit about the right to hunt and fish. We talked about that in the past Saturday's radio show. If you caught our radio show, hopefully you caught our radio show this past Saturday. Myself, Captain Travis Thompson from All Florida. That's the hat I'm wearing, by the way. allfla.org. We talked a lot about the right to hunt and fish. We talked a lot about the Lake O discharges. We talked a lot about a lot of different things in that radio show page. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you do so. But there are some really good information tidbits in there. So check out the allfla.org right to hunt and fish page. Josh is going to drop the link in the chat for you. But if you can't see it, go to allfla.org and you'll be able to find the right to fish and hunt page. So it's allfla.org/R2FH. Gets you the information. But also really recommend going to the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page or the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page and watching the Saturday radio show after the live show, or sometime soon if you didn't catch it, because there's a lot of really cool information about the right to hunt and fish, about the Lake O discharges, and about a lot of different things that are going on right now in fisheries, science, and management. So definitely a good radio show. If you missed it, catch it. Don's Dock, also want to make sure we emphasize to you, we just got a huge load of hogfish, of grouper, snapper, and stone crab in. So we've got a ton of fresh seafood. Plus, we've got these shrimps in there. You want to check out these shrimps. They're like probably at least anywhere from 16 to 22 inches. They're huge shrimp. These are record-setting shrimp. I've never seen shrimp this big. They're like little lobsters. So we got crazy shrimps of all sizes, tons of stone crab, oysters, clams, fish, a lot of stuff. So check out all that good stuff over there at our seafood market at Don's Dock. So it's really cool if you haven't stopped by. So definitely check out Don's Dock Seafood Market. It's pretty awesome. Now, it's time to give away another free trip. Then we're going to get into some of your questions, and we'll rip through some questions here real quick. So we did our 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Let's see who wins our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. That is a Hubbard's Marina t-shirt, calendar, and other assorted Hubbard's Marina swag. Remember, if you're picked as the swag pack winner, not only do you have to text us your full home address within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live, but also you got to send us your t-shirt size. So let's see who won the Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Dan Bennett, what's up, buddy? Congratulations. Glad you're feeling better, Dan, and glad you caught the show because you just won a Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Congrats, my friend. So make sure you text us within 5 minutes your t-shirt size and your full home address to the phone number at the bottom of the screen, and we'll send you out that Hubbard's Marina swag pack. I think I covered all the things I wanted to talk about. Now let's get into some questions and see what questions do we have. Pros and cons of Okeechobee draining into the Gulf. There's really no pro to the Lake Okeechobee discharges for the Gulf of Mexico. Really, essentially what it's doing is it's pouring out fresh water. Even if the water was totally crystal perfect, clean, best fresh water on the planet, no nutrients or anything in it whatsoever, if you discharge a large volume of fresh water into a saltwater estuary, bad things happen. Salinity levels changes. It can kill seagrass. It does kill seagrass. It does kill fish. It displaces fish out of their estuarian homes. So a massive change in salinity level quickly can really cause negative impacts to an estuarian system. So any freshwater discharge is not good. Now, add on top of that, some of that water coming out of Lake Okeechobee is nutrient loaded. Right now, the lake level of Okeechobee is extremely critically high, and it's been held extremely critically high because of certain groups' efforts down there. They've been really trying to stop discharging. And if you stop discharging, the lake continues to grow in levels because it rains in Florida. So we've been having a lot of rain, so the lake level went really high. They were trying to not do discharges, so that lake level got higher and higher and higher, and now it's at a point they have to do a discharge. Now it's going to be a bigger discharge because they've been holding it critically high. So now we're going to see a really big discharge of a lot of fresh water and some of that nutrient, and then as it discharges, all that needs to happen is that harmful algal bloom kind of recipe, remember, is the presence of the algae. So the Canera Bravis, or however you pronounce red tide algae, if it's present, the salinity level is right, and food is present, which food will be present in the nutrient-rich fresh water coming out of Lake O. So basically, all you need is the right salinity mixture, the presence of the algae, that nutrient water coming out of Lake Okeechobee, and you'll have a red tide potential outbreak or harmful algal bloom. And then once that starts to happen, it can fester and it can be pushed north or south, or it could just sit in Charlotte Harbor and cause a lot of damage there. So that is the concern. A lot of people are like, oh, it's cool right now, we don't have to worry about it. Remember, water temperature has nothing to do with nothing. Water temperature does not impact red tide. Salinity level, presence of the algae, and then nutrients. Nutrients are there, the algae is there, the salinity level is right, harmful algal bloom occurs. It has to be cooler than 50 degrees. Water temperature has to be cooler than 50 degrees to kill off red tide. And if water temps are lower than 50 degrees, it's going to kill all the fish anyway, because 50-degree water is way too cold. So water temperature has nothing to do with anything. A lot of people have that misconception. I did too. I recently learned that in the last couple of years, that water temperature does not have an impact. So really concerning for sure. I don't think there's a positive impact at all. But the positive side of this is the fact that the discharge is happening in such a high volume is in one way kind of good news, because it shows that the impacts, the efforts have worked. They held the lake level higher than ever. These discharges have been happening since before I was born. I mean, this is not something new that they started doing yesterday. No matter what some people might lead you to believe, these discharges have been happening for years, for decades, for many decades. They built an artificial canal through the middle of our state. You can go from Jupiter, Florida to Boca Grande, Florida in a boat without going around the tip of Florida. There's literally a canal cut through the state. So this has been happening forever, since that canal was built. So it's not something new. The problem has become over time more and more development happens, more and more water runoff happens, more and more man-made people touching the systems and trying to help, trying to do things have really impacted it. So it's been 150 years in the making to cause this problem. And people are like, oh, we got to fix this. Well, we can fix it. There's a lot of really good projects, over 50 projects right now, really working hard and doing really good things, but it all takes time. So it took 150 years or more to cause this problem. How long do you think it's going to take to fix this problem? Not overnight, not tomorrow, not the next day, not 5 years from now. I'm hoping by the end of my lifetime, we've made some positive impact in this problem. So discharges are a negative thing, but they have to happen or people will die. Because the lake level is at a certain point. If that lake level breaches, there's people that live there. You got to remember, people live there. Not big sugar, not big agriculture, families. They live there. But Indians have historical lands there. So as a saltwater fisherman who doesn't go to Lake Okeechobee, who doesn't freshwater fish, to me, I never want to see a discharge. But also, that's really ignorant to say myself because people live there. People's livelihoods are there too. And the people who fish Lake Okeechobee, they're dying, they're screaming, they want discharges. One of the biggest bass tournaments that happens on Lake Okeechobee just happened recently. And they were all fishing, like hundreds of boats were all fishing like right on top of each other. Because all the bass in this huge, huge lake are all in one small area because the lake is dead, is dying, because the lake level has been so high for so long. The littoral zone, this is the zone in which plants can grow at the edges of the lake, is totally underwater and drowned. So the ability for the lake to produce vegetation for these small bass and these species to thrive and proliferate haven't been able to grow. So all of a sudden, the fishery in Lake Okeechobee is collapsing. Now, someone might be sitting there like, what do you care? Do you care about another fishery collapsing? We can't be one-sided, right? So it's a very, very delicate systemic issue that we all have to work together on. And that's the challenge, is so often people are like, oh, this keyword, move the water south or stop the spraying. It's not that easy. You can't just do one thing without affecting 20,000 other things. This is a very intricate problem with a multifaceted long-term solution that's needed. So it's a very big challenge, but we all got to take a deep breath and work together. So yes, discharges suck, but there's no way around it. That debt was coming due. We have to pay that bill, and that's where we're at with it right now. But again, check out the radio show. We went into more depth, and Travis Thompson is much more educated than myself. He explained it really, really well, so check it out. Next question. Do hogfish hang on ledges like grouper, or do they hang off ledges, and how far? Generally, hogfish are not like grouper. A hogfish is a wrasse, so it is not a snapper. It is not a grouper. It's a different family of species. So hogfish generally hang off of the structure. Generally, targeting smaller ledges is a good idea. 1, 2, 3 foot ledges. The big 5, 6 foot ledges will have hogfish, but there's a ton of other species around. When there's other more aggressive species around, they're going to bite first before the hogfish have a chance to bite. So getting to some of those smaller ledges where there's going to be less, more aggressive species around is going to give you a better chance to catch those hogfish. Hogfish often will hang off the ledge, the top or bottom of the ledge, and they're going to be spread out looking for crustaceans. They typically hang just above the bottom and kind of cruise with their face down in the sand, hunting for shrimp and crabs. That's why they have that big snout. They can stick their snout into the sand and disturb the sand and create those little sand puffs, and that's what they're looking for. That little puff of sand is that little crab or that shrimp trying to bury itself in the sand before the hogfish gets it. So that's why these hog balls, the naked ball jigs, the knocker rigs, the banana jigs are all good options, because you can underhand cast them away from the boat and kind of bounce it back to the boat, and it creates a little puff of sand on the bottom as it bounces. And that's going to attract that hogfish's attention. He's going to come over, see that live shrimp, and he's going to eat it. So that's the idea with the hogfish. You're fishing around the structure. They're structure oriented, but they're not going to be right on the structure. They're going to be around the structure. And they're very leader shy and unaggressive. So if you get to an area where there's a bunch of gray snapper and white grunts, porgies, you have to fish kind of through those species before you get a chance for the hogfish. Or you come out in a party boat like ours, and on the 10-hour, you got 20, 30 people dropping down shrimp. You got a lot of shrimp smell going in the water. Those hogfish get excited. They start biting a lot quicker. If you go out with 2 or 3 buddies in a small boat, it takes a lot longer to get to the hogfish because you got to fish past all those other fish, and you don't have 20, 30 people on the boat with you helping you. So it takes a little bit longer. So the party boats are actually a little bit of a cheat code to hook and line those hogfish. Hopefully that answered your question. Is the lane snapper bite still strong on the 10-hour all day? Yes, we're catching a ton of lanes. This past Thursday's 10-hour trip destroyed the lane snapper. It was a tough morning because it was on the backside of a front. The bite kind of was slow. Then all of a sudden around midday, the bite picked up. They caught over 20 keeper hogs, over 60 keeper lanes, a good number of mangroves, and even a keeper red grouper. And it wasn't that many people fishing. So really, really good bite at lane snapper right now. What is the use of pinfish on a 10-hour right now? I would go mostly shrimp, but maybe a dozen pinfish for the red grouper and big mangroves. Smaller pinfish work really well for big mangroves, and then obviously your typical pinfish works well for the red grouper opportunities. But your best bet right now, live bait wise, if I was going on a 10-hour, I'd be focused on getting a lot of live shrimp for those hogfish. If you're going to fish the whole time for red group or for hogfish, maybe 10 dozen shrimp, 15 dozen shrimp. If you're going to fish a little bit, maybe 5 dozen. If you just want them, if you see someone catch a hogfish, you want to drop a shrimp, maybe 2 dozen is all you need. But shrimp is going to be your best bet on the 10-hour all days right now. Outside of red snapper season, are commercial businesses allowed to catch, keep, and sell red snapper fish? That is a multifaceted question with a very in-depth answer. Long story short, commercial business is Hubbard's Marina, but we're a recreational fishing business. So you have to delineate what you're asking, right? There's a commercial fishery, there's a recreational fishery. Recreational fishery can house commercial businesses like Hubbard's Marina. We're a commercial business that takes recreational fishermen fishing. We're considered a recreational fishing vessel. We have to follow recreational regulations. But over here in the commercial industry, they do not take recreational fishermen fishing. They're under commercial permitting, commercial regulations, and they are managed differently. They have a very similar quota to the recreational fishermen, but they manage that quota differently through an individual fishing quota or IFQ. So in order to really explain it, it's a whole long show, but they are very over-regulated. They have vessel monitoring systems. They have to hail out. They have to hail in. They have every pound of fish is accounted for. It's a very internal, long-winded explanation, which I would recommend you check out our new fisheries science and management page, which explains it pretty well in depth. But yes, to answer your question, their management structure is such that they are able to choose when they go fishing. So when they go fishing, if they have quota available, they can catch that quota. Whether it's a red snapper or a gag grouper, they don't have season size limits and bag limits like recreational fishermen do. They can catch their quota when they want to catch their quota, and they are managed to their quota because they have vessel monitoring systems, because they hail in, they hail out, every pound is accounted for. They can manage their fishery a lot different because the number of anglers is defined, well defined. There's a moratorium on the permits. They can't move on the water without the feds knowing where they are, how fast they're going, and where they're fishing. All that stuff allows them to manage their fishery differently. So it's totally incomparable and definitely set up in a much different method. But check out our fisheries management page. It'll explain a lot of that. Is there a restriction on how deep you can fish for red grouper? I heard this from a couple local captains. I can't seem to find anything. Yes, there is a 20-fathom closure going on right now in February and March that has been in place for probably close to a decade, that you've not been allowed to fish past 20 fathoms in February and March to protect red grouper spawning and gag grouper spawning in the Gulf of Mexico. So yes, beyond 20 fathoms or 120 feet, you can't keep red grouper in February and March. What we do is we often will fish deeper than 120 foot past the line on our 39-hour trips, catch a bunch of mangrove snapper, then come inside the line, target the red grouper through the day. But as soon as you have a red grouper on the boat, you can't pass the line again. So once you have a red grouper on the boat, you got to stay inside the line. But it's very easy. You could just Google 20 fathom closure, and it'll come up on the FWC page, the NOAA page. Like I said, it's been around for almost a decade. It's pretty easily found on the website or on the internet. If you Google 20 fathom closure, Gulf of Mexico, federal waters, it'll pop right up and you can see the GPS coordinates. Or just make it easy on yourself and stay inside 120 foot of water and you can catch and keep red grouper. Or come fishing with us and then you don't have to worry about it because we'll keep you legal. For anglers coming from out of state, do you guys, or is there someone in the area that will package and ship the fish back? Yes. So Don's Dock, our seafood market, offers TSA safe boxes. So you can go down to Don's Dock. We'll package your fish for you, and we'll give them all to you in a box, which you can then pay to have that as a carry-on, which is the best and cheapest way to do it. It's just a couple of dollars. I think it's like $5 a freezer bag, and then you buy the box, which isn't very expensive either, and then you pay for the carry-on. So all in all, you're looking at maybe $150. If you go to ship the fish, if you want us to package and then ship the fish, you're looking at $250, $300, sometimes $400, because you have to overnight the fish. The carriers won't take a raw product like fresh fish and not overnight ship it, overnight freight. So they overnight airplane it out to where you're going. And it's going to be sitting on your front doorstep. It's very, very expensive, like at least $180 to $200 minimum just for the shipping. Then you got to pay for the package and all that process as well. So not recommended that you actually package and ship. It's recommended you come down to Don's Dock, we'll package it for you, and then you can ship it yourself by carrying it on the airplane. That's going to be your cheapest method and best method, recommended method. But we do offer package and shipping. If you want to pay for it, you can. So we're not going to not let you, but we're just going to recommend the cheapest option for you. But carry-on is definitely the best methodology. It works really well. It's been proven. Everybody does it. And those guys down at Don's Dock are really good at it. And we have a very nice vacuum sealer that we just had serviced, which was very expensive. So are the gray snapper we catch on the 5 and 10 hour the same as mangrove snapper? No. A gray snapper that we catch on a 5 and 10 hour trip is a white grunt. We call it a gray snapper with an E. A mangrove snapper is what we call them. They're called black snapper in the panhandle. They're called goozers. They're called a multitude of different things. But in a science room, they're called gray snapper. Mangrove snapper is called gray snapper with an A. And a gray snapper with an A is a mangrove snapper. It's a different species. We catch them a little bit deeper. You start to get a chance for them on the 10 hours. But a gray snapper with an E, a white grunt, are those little grayish in color snapper that we see, or white grunts that we see on our 5 and 10 hours predominantly. Great question. Let's see. All right, let's do a 5-hour half-day giveaway. We'll answer one more question, then we'll do the 39-hour trip since we're running low on time. So 5-hour half-day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Louis Canaveri from Lake Placid. Congratulations, Louis. You've won the 5-hour half-day for 2 guests. You got 5 minutes or less to claim it by texting us your full home address to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. So with that, we got time for one more question, and then we're going to rip out. I know we don't have time. Are we out of questions? What?
I mean, a Yamaha mechanic, difference between a mango and a gag.
All right, well, we are out of questions. So, unfortunately, we're just going to go right into our giveaway for the 39-hour. But hopefully, you guys had a good time tonight. If you're a part of our supporters group, make sure you catch our supporters after show. That's going to start around 8:45 in our supporters group. So join us for the supporters after show for sure. We'd love to have you in our supporters group. Again, it's only $4.99 a month, and it's a really great value for less than $5 a month. You get a free after show every week. So literally those after shows are like $1.25 a piece. And it's a good time. A lot more connectivity, a lot more communication. Supporters know first is the hashtag because they are very easily communicated to. So check out the supporters group. Definitely worth it. I missed you guys. Glad to be back. We had the golf council meeting. Then I had a vacation with family to Colorado. I did not die. Went skiing and snowmobiling. It was fun. But I'm glad to be back. I'm finally getting caught up at work again and getting back into the swing of things. And we got a lot of exciting stuff coming at Hubbard's Marina. Like I said, we got that new policy, so you can bring your phone on your next 10-hour trip. Make sure you take lots of photos and videos. Make sure you tag us. I want to see a lot of reels. I want to see a lot of TikToks. I want to see a lot of check-ins. And I want to see a lot of photos and videos, hopefully. So appreciate you all for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. And look forward to a stellar year and tons more of these live stream shows every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. So we'll see you next week for another episode. We're back into our weekly habit. So every Sunday night right here. Make sure you tell a friend this week about the show, and look forward to seeing you guys again. Now, let's find out who won our 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. Don't forget to vote for us for Best Charter Boat every day as well. Again, Josh will drop that link in the chat here. So vote as soon as the show's over. Vote again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And let's see you again next week for another episode of this live stream show. So with that, we're ready to give away our 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. So that lucky winner is Barbara Perez from Palm Harbor. Congratulations, Barbara Ann Perez. You've got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. We will see you guys next week for another episode. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at Don's Dock Seafood Market or for a shelling trip, an island trip. Great time to find shark's teeth, sand dollars, big whelks behind this weather today, behind all that nasty cold front weather. Tomorrow, all the shells are going to be washing up on the beach. So go out to Shell Key Ferry, the Egmont Key Ferry. Join us for a 3-hour Shell Key shelling trip this week. Take advantage of all the great shells and shark's teeth. Then we'll see you fishing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Don't forget that new added Wednesday 10-hour. We've got the Wednesday Extreme trip as well. Hopefully the weather's going to hold up. Let us do the 44-hour Friday. We've got the 12-hour Night Snapper Friday too. So also, final Friday this week, cupcake contest. Chance to win $300 in free trip fares if you're the lucky cupcake contest winner. So check out Final Friday this Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. Free crawfish, free beer, free drinks, and the free cupcake contest. Josh dropped the link in the chat. Check it out, hubbardsmarina.com/cupcake-contest. Check out the page there, and we'll see you all Friday night for the the final Friday. We'll see you Sunday night for the live stream show. Thanks for watching. We missed you guys. We'll see you for the supporters after show at 8:45.